Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. And I am your host, Conrad Cushman, and we are here to talk about WWE's greatest Royal Rumble event. The event was live in Saudi Arabia, and we just finished watching on the WWE Network. So anyone who joins in live, feel free to leave some comments in the chat. And you know the things that we usually have to go through. If you guys like the video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. If you dislike it, leave a thumbs down. Also, if you guys want to, subscribe to the channel for more great content. And also, please do me a favor and make sure that you guys are subscribed to me on iTunes, the Anchor app. Follow me on Wrestling Aminu. Just type in Everything Pro Wrestling, and I'm pretty sure you'll find me. Let's get into the show, though. Enough of that. The greatest Royal Rumble. Now, the first match that took place on the card was a match that I predicted should be the first match, which was Triple H versus John Cena. Now, I have an NA rating there for right now. I will update that rating once I go back in and actually see the match because I was at work, so I missed part of that match. So I'm going to be truthful with you guys about that. To me, it sounded like it was a decent match from what I saw from everyone reacting on Twitter, Facebook, and such. But I guess for this, I'll talk about why this was a good opening contest for this show. I feel Triple H and John Cena are the backbone for the WWE for so many years. And I think people from Saudi Arabia have been watching for over a period of time, and WWE knows that. So who are the two biggest faces that people are going to remember from 10 years ago, 2008? So the biggest names were John Cena and Triple H back then, I would say. And they're top quality. You even had Undertaker on the show. These names are all names that people know from 10 years ago. And I think it's a perfect way to kick off the show. And John Cena did his thing, and it looks like he picked up the victory if anyone cares to know. And I will update my rating later for that. Now, next, we got to Cedric Alexander defending the Cruiserweight Championship versus Kalisto. And that match was pretty good. I caught that one on the way out from work, and then I had it on in the car, like listening to the audio of it, and it sounded like it was a pretty fun match. And what I caught towards the end of it, excellent work by Kalisto in this match. Like I said, sometimes Kalisto is amazing in the ring, and other times he's a botch machine. Today, Kalisto was amazing, and I have nothing but respect for what he did in that ring. The ending was pretty cool, to where Kalisto's going for the his finisher, and Cedric Alexander reversed into the lumbar check. And I thought that was very cool and a big win for Cedric Alexander. I see him as Mr. 205 live right now, and there is no one else better on that roster than Cedric Alexander until Buddy Murphy gets ready to prove himself against him. And I'm glad they held off on that match for this. We get into the Raw Tag Team Championship match for the vacant Raw Tag titles. We had The Bar, and that had Sheamus and Cesaro versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. I like the team of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, and this match was a decent match. You could take it either way. This match was average at best. And, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give my grade for the match before that. The Cruiserweight match I did give a B- to. Excellent match, and I do grades for this, so don't mind it. There's no star ratings or anything. I just think it's the easiest way to do it. Once again, the Raw Tag titles, it was an average match. Nothing different that we haven't seen out of Matt and Bray, but Matt and Bray's characters are shown, and I do like them as a tag team. I think that they have a lot of potential with this gimmick, and I also would like to see Bray Wyatt succeed as a babyface. I think, personally, his in-ring style fits now that he is a babyface and in that role. So kudos to Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. They pick up the victory in a match that I gave a C to. Nothing really special in it. It was kind of bland, boring, but exactly what I predicted. So good job. Let me get a drink of water here. Excuse me. So we get to the WWE U.S. Championship match. Jeff Hardy, who picked up the U.S. title back during the Superstar Shakeup, versus Jinder Mahal with Sunil Singh. This match wasn't as good as their Raw match, I'll say. Their Raw match I thought was decent, at least, average. This match is below average. I was very disappointed in it. And I don't know if Jeff Hardy's hurt and injured his knee because they kept making references towards that. But in this match, there was a horrible botch spot with a whisper in the wind where Jeff Hardy basically climbed up to the top rope, completely missed Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal sold it like he just got hit by a stick of dynamite. Good for Jinder to still sell for him, but it looked really bad on the camera side, so not a good match. I gave this a D+. I'm not saying that it was like, oh, don't watch it or don't ever look at this or this should be in like horrible wrestling matches, but nothing here that you would want to go back and see. This is probably, if I had to tell you any match to skip, this is the one. Jeff Hardy retained his U.S. Championship in the end. We had, another disappointing part here. We're going to talk about the kickoff panel, I guess is what it was called. That's where Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross were placed. I thought Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross were doing commentary for the show. That's what I read, and that's what I saw on WWE.com. I was very disappointed that we didn't get Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler calling the show. Just a personal thing for me. We had some interviews things with Chris Jericho backstage, calling Mike Tom and everything else during the interviews. They had some stuff with Daniel Bryan, different stuff, so not too bad. We had the SmackDown Live tag team title match, the Usos versus the Bludgeon Brothers. As I said when I reviewed the show on my podcast, I didn't really expect anything different out of this. The Bludgeon Brothers pick up the victory. It was a little bit of a longer match than I thought we would get. Usually they just dominate, but they let the Usos put up a pretty good fight. Bludgeon Brothers pick up the victory. Cool, not a big deal. No issues with that match. I gave it, I think, a C-. It is what it is with that. I'd like to see a more competitive match between the two teams, but I think they would save that for like Backlash. Now, we get into the ladder match. The ladder match had a fatal 4-way Intercontinental Championship stipulation with it. And the ladder match had The Miz versus Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Seth Rollins is the champion. It was a pretty safe ladder match for the most part. And why would you risk it all here for something that is basically, in my opinion, a glorified house show? You really didn't need to do any of that stuff. Joe didn't really need to get too crazy. I mean, some of the guys got slammed on ladders. I'm not saying they didn't do any risky things, but this ladder match was safe. There was nobody falling off and going to the outside of the floor, going through like 6 tables that are set up. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. Basic ladder match. You get slammed on the ladders. People are trying to climb up. There's saves, everything else. Everyone did very well in this match. I like this match. There's one part that I don't like, and it comes at the finish. The finish sees, I believe, Miz is down, Samoa Joe's down. Finn Balor is towards the top of the ladder, looking like he's basically going to climb up. He's basically one rung away from getting up there to grab it, but, you know, they try and do the, I'm going to grab it and hit it. And Seth Rollins comes from the outside, springboards off the ropes onto the ladder, and jumps up and basically snatches the title right out of Finn's hands. I don't know. Kind of to an extent, I was just like, wow, that made Finn look stupid, but it was also a different finish to the point where I'm like, it was okay. I just didn't like that finish. I would have definitely had him knock Finn off at least and then grab the belt. Much better in my opinion. But Seth Rollins wins. Not surprised at all with that. I figure you can't change a lot of these championship belts because of Backlash coming up. Where are we here? They showed some guys getting trials in Saudi Arabia. Very cool to see about 4 or 5 of them. They all ended up getting called out. And then we had Daivari, Daivari from like 2006, and his brother show up to call these guys out. And they're from Iran, so they came out with their flag and said all that. They got incredible heel heat. And they took some moves from these guys, and I thought that was very cool to get them on the show and have them do that. So thumbs up. I would, if you're going to do a Cruiserweight tag division, which I'm not a fan of, but I don't know why you wouldn't have the Daivari brothers team up in that. It seems like they'd be a great tag team, and I think that would be a good route for them. Just my opinion. Even in the regular tag division, you could put those guys in there, or the Bollywood Boys, or anyone. They're called the Singh brothers as well, so it'd be cool to see them. Next, we had the WWE Championship match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Compared to the WrestleMania match, this match was a better in-ring match. Not too much of a story behind it. They had some great sequences. They had also a very cool near fall with Shinsuke Nakamura hitting the low blow. Now, at the end, I thought AJ Styles would retain in this match, but it turned out that they went with the draw stipulation. They basically both got counted out. I'm fine with that because I think at Backlash, that's the match that you're going to want to see between these two. Heel Nakamura, face AJ Styles in the ring, and hopefully they let them put it all on the line there and let them put on a spectacular show because I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be on that show anyway. So let them rock and let them do their thing on that. That's just my opinion. This match came in, I gave it a B minus, I believe, or a B. So excellent work by AJ and Shinsuke. I know some people are going to hate the finish. Kind of what I expected, though. Like I said, it's a glorified house show, kind of. And I think WWE's building their relationship with Saudi Arabia, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another show from there soon, or at least within the year. So that was a good match. Next, we had Aiden English come out, do his thing for Rusev Day, and Rusev versus The Undertaker in a casket match. We all knew what this was. I do have to give Undertaker props, though. He did give Rusev a lot of opportunity to have some offense in this match. And I thought that was very cool. And I don't know if that's just easier on Taker, but Rusev did his thing. And WWE, please, please, I'm begging you, please let this guy get a chance as a babyface. This guy is over. Let him and Aiden English win the tag team titles. You got nothing to lose. Like, these guys are money. Put them in an upper mid-card feud. Let them get the chance to do something that's meaningful. But we all know how this ended. Undertaker got the win. Aiden English and Rusev both wound up in the casket. Decent match. I didn't like Rusev being afraid of the casket either. But you know what? It was cool, though. It makes sense. It's classic Undertaker casket match psychology. That's what you would expect from it. Could have did something different, but I was happy with what I knew what I was going into this getting. So cool. Undertaker, good match. I think I gave it a C. It was average, what I expected. Now we get to the, let's see here, the Universal Championship match. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. This match was what every Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match turns into. Suplexes, finishers, and everything else. Oh, my. These guys were hitting F5s, Superman punches, spears, suplexes, kick out, kick out, kick out. What you would expect from the match. A couple of, oh, I think he's going to get out. But nothing too great here. And I don't know if it's just because of how people treat Roman Reigns and Brock, or maybe they don't have good chemistry. I thought they had a good match at WrestleMania 31. I don't know what it is here with them and what's going on with what people think about it. But so the ending comes in this match. Now, the ending I thought was kind of cool for this, minus the decision that came from the ending. Roman Reigns winds up spearing Brock Lesnar through the cage door, and the referee makes a decision of they both their feet hit the floor. Now, the botch kind of is that Lesnar's feet never left off the cage. So what's everyone thinking? Well, Roman Reigns must have won then if they're going to make a decision on it. Nope. They said Brock Lesnar won because he was out of the cage first. Whatever. You can argue that all day. They went with the controversial ending because maybe Roman's going to get another rematch down the line. I'm not sure what they're doing with this. Roman Reigns is on to facing Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe, if you have not been on Twitter yet, he's got about a minute-and-a-half promo. He cuts a vicious promo on Roman Reigns, basically saying, I told you so. I'd highly recommend after this video that you guys go and check that out. So Brock Lesnar retains. Cool. Now we get to the main event match. And that match I gave a C- to, I'm sorry, rating for the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns. Now we get to the 50-man Royal Rumble. The 50-man Royal Rumble, I'm going to tell you right now, B+. Because it's a Royal Rumble match, and how can you hate it? So it was cool watching the Royal Rumble, and I see why people get so into these types of matches. I was watching it with my nephew, and he really doesn't watch wrestling. He's 3, and he basically says stuff like, oh, is that John Cena? He kept asking me that. I'm like, no, it's not John Cena. But he likes the colors, and it was weird to watch who he was like, oh, who's that? Oh, what does he do? Who's this guy? And I'm like, oh, that's Rey Mysterio. And he's like, oh, Rey Mysterio, he looks cool. Like certain things that just stood out to him that he liked while watching the match. And he liked the countdown. It's just real cool to see the little minimal things that people could get into while watching these. Was it long? Yes, but it was fun. Good fun while watching this. So while looking at this 50-man Royal Rumble match, Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler are 1 and 2. They come out, and, you know, these guys are going to put on a heck of a show. Daniel Bryan was given the performance of Iron Man in this Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan lasted 1 hour and 16 minutes in this match. So he now has the record, I believe, of being in the Royal Rumble the longest. So Rey Mysterio just lost it to him. And you know what? Kudos to Daniel Bryan. He deserves it. Now, they had a bunch of different people come in. Trying to think of some other cool spots that I saw here. I'm trying to look at what happened all in this match. They had some surprise people show up. Tony Nese. Odd that I would stop on him and bring something up. I saw something very cool that I wanted to bring up and speak on. Guys from 205 Live, like Tony Nese, interacting with New Day. I want to see this on Monday Night Raw more often. Tony Nese did a pretty cool job interacting with them, dancing with them, and then he got tossed out. And I'm like, man, it would be cool to see Tony Nese and someone team up maybe to go against New Day because of this. Let the 205 Live guys interact more with other people. Don't regulate them just to cruiserweight matches and stuff. I think that's something that I'd like to see. Kurt Angle came in the ring and was laying people out with German suplexes and tossing guys over the top rope left and right. Now, Kurt Angle did some cool stuff with Dolph Ziggler. It was cool to see Kurt Angle and Daniel Bryan face off for a second. Daniel Bryan hits him with the kicks. The last kick turns into an ankle lock. Good stuff. I would love to have seen Kurt Angle maybe in his prime or even in his TNA days versus Daniel Bryan. I think that would have been an excellent match. So it was cool to see that little dream match up there that you normally wouldn't get to see. You had a lot of comedy in this match. Some surprise appearances from people like Roderick Strong, Tucker Knight from Heavy Machinery. Got some good stuff in there. Braun Strowman comes out at number 41. Braun Strowman is given the Big Show treatment. He is the powerhouse in this match. Him and Lashley both got the same treatment. They came in and cleared house. Braun Strowman did his thing. He kicked some ass, took some names. And towards the end, it wound up being a few guys. Shane McMahon was in there. Kevin Owens. Big Cass, Baron Corbin, I think, was in towards the end, and Daniel Bryan. Well, Lashley wound up trying to go for a crossbody, and he was dumped out by Braun Strowman. Big Cass threw out Daniel Bryan at the hour and 16-minute mark. Oh, it hurt me so bad because Daniel Bryan was my prediction to win this. And Braun Strowman and Big Cass were the last two after that. Everyone else just got eliminated randomly throughout. Jericho was in the match as well. I mentioned Rey Mysterio were surprises. Those guys were towards the end too, but they all got eliminated with Orton. Very, very cool stuff in it if you watch it towards the end. So we get to the last two guys, which are Big Cass, Braun Strowman. They go back and forth. And, I forgot to mention some of the funniest parts. Titus O'Neil falling and busting himself up. I got to pull this up. Hold on. And as you see, Braun wins this, but I have to pull this up with Titus O'Neil. Give me 1 second here, guys. I will have to screen share this in 1 second for you. This is hilarious to see. All right, let me see if I can find the GIF of it here. Here it is. And I have to screen share this so you guys can see this on the YouTube video. All right, let's see here. Here it is. Titus O'Neil makes Royal Rumble history. Look at this guy fall. He fell so hard that he fell underneath the ring. I felt so bad for Titus in this match. So embarrassing. But Titus went down. He did his thing. He tried to recover from it. I'm not mad at him. It just made for a great, like, Shockmaster type moment. Let's see here, though, if we can find it. So Braun Strowman not only won that trophy, but he got a custom championship belt. I don't know if that means he's the champion or if it's just decorative, something that he could put in his house to remember that he won this. But Braun Strowman eliminates Big Cass at the end. No surprise there. They're pushing this guy to the moon. And Braun Strowman's it. He gave out those hands and he won. Now I'm going to stop sharing this real quick, guys. Back to me. What did you guys think of the event? Overall, I have a C down right now. If you look in the description box, I think I'm going to bump it up to a C plus just because of the Rumble. I think it's an average show. It's like a fun house show, basically, is the way I see it. Do you like these network specials? What do you guys want to see more of in the future? Let me know down below. Check out all the Everything Pro Wrestling content that I have down in the description box below. I will add my rating for John Cena and Triple H at a later time, like I said, once I actually get to watch the match. But I want to hear from you guys down below. Tell me what you think of the show. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. We are out. Have a good one, guys. Deuces.